a reaction, and not every insult deserves a reply. When you remain silent, you let the other person's words reflect who they are, not who you are. Strength is not about proving yourself to everyone. It is about being so confident in your worth that you do not need to explain it. Silence comes from that confidence. It comes from knowing that your value is not tied to what others think or say. You do not need to justify your choices to people who are not walking your journey. You do not need to lower your standards to match their expectations. Your silence becomes your shield, a quiet reminder that you are above unnecessary drama. When you practice silence, you also protect your energy. Every word you speak requires energy, and if you waste it on people who do not want to understand, you will have nothing left for yourself. Silence allows you to invest that energy back into your growth, your dreams, and your goal. It gives you time to listen to your own heart and to reconnect with your inner voice. In the world filled with endless noise, silence becomes your sanctuary, a safe space where you can hear your thoughts without interruption. There is also wisdom in silence. The strongest people are not the loudest in the room. They are the ones who observe, who listen, and who wait for the right moment. Silence is powerful because it cannot be argued with. Words can be twisted, but silence cannot be misquoted. Arguments can be endless, but silence ends them before they begin. That is the strength hidden in silence. The kind of strength that does not need to be shown yet is always felt. Silence teaches patience. It shows you that not everything requires immediate action. It helps you understand that timing is everything, and sometimes the best response is no response at all. In that waiting, in that stillness, you build resilience. You learn to rise above situations without lowering yourself into unnecessary conflict. Silence makes you strong not because you are ignoring reality, but because you are choosing peace over chaos, growth over distraction, and self-respect over meaningless battle. Focusing on yourself brings healing and growth. Too often we spend our lives looking outward, worrying about what others are doing, comparing our journey with theirs, and seeking approval from people who may not even care about us. In that constant search for acceptance, we lose touch with our own heart. But when you shift your focus back to yourself, you begin to see how much of your energy has been wasted on things beyond your control. Focusing on yourself does not mean becoming selfish. It means becoming aware of your own needs, your own dreams, and your own purpose. It means understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot help others if you are broken inside. When you start giving time to yourself, you notice the wounds that you have been ignoring. You begin to heal not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Many times, we hide our pain behind busyness. We distract ourselves with noise, and we silence the voice inside us that is asking for rest. But healing cannot happen in the middle of chaos. Healing requires stillness. It requires attention, and that attention can only come when you focus on yourself. It is in those quiet moments of reflection that you understand where you have been hurt, what lessons those experiences brought, and how you can grow stronger from them. Growth is impossible without focus. If your eyes are always on others, your progress will remain slow. When a plant grows, it does not compete with the flowers beside it. It simply turns toward the light and keeps growing. The same is true for us. When you focus on yourself, you stop comparing your journey with others. You stop chasing their timelines. You stop measuring your worth by their standards. Instead, you learn to trust your own process. You start building small habits that make you better every day. You realize that growth is not about speed, it is about direction. Focusing on yourself also allows you to understand your strengths and weaknesses. When you pay attention to your own path, you discover what makes you unique, what skills you can sharpen, and what areas you need to improve. You stop waiting for someone else to validate your abilities. Because you see them for yourself, you begin to celebrate your progress, even if it looks small, because you know it is yours. Each step you take becomes a victory, and each victory adds to your confidence. When you focus inward, your relationships also become healthier. Instead of relying on others to make you happy, you create happiness within yourself. Instead of expecting people to heal your wounds, you take responsibility for your healing. And when you come from a place of wholeness, you attract people who respect your energy, not those who drain it. Your focus helps you build boundaries that protect your peace. It helps you say no to things that do not serve your growth, and yes to opportunities that align with your purpose. The greatest gift of focusing on yourself is clarity. You stop living in confusion, trying to please everyone, and you start living with intention. You realize that your journey is yours alone, and that comparison is a thief of joy. You understand that every season of life has a purpose, even the hard ones, because they shape you into who you are becoming. And in that understanding, you grow. Growth is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, slow, and invisible to others. But inside you, transformation is happening. Focus on your journey, not their opinions. Life becomes heavy when you start carrying the weight of what everyone else thinks about you. Every step feels slower, every decision feels harder, because your mind is crowded with questions like, what will they say? What will they think? Will they approve or will they criticize? But the truth is, no matter how hard you try, you can never control their opinion. People will always see things through their own lens, shaped by their own experiences, insecurities, and judgments. If you keep adjusting your path to satisfy everyone else, you will end up lost, far away from your own purpose. That is why focusing on your journey is freedom. It is the decision to let go of the noise and listen to your own calling. Your journey is unique. No two people have the same story, the same lessons, or the same timing. When you keep looking at others, comparing their pace with yours, you start doubting your own path. But flowers do not bloom all at once, and stars do not shine at the same time. Everything unfolds when it is meant to. When you focus on your journey, you trust that your timing is right, even if it looks different from others. You begin to value your own progress, instead of measuring it against someone else's. Every small step forward becomes meaningful, because you know it is moving you closer to your truth. Opinions can distract you if you let them, but they only have as much power as you give them. When you stop feeding them with your attention, they lose their hold on you. What others say cannot define you unless you accept it as truth. Focusing on your journey means filtering out those voices and choosing to hear your own inner guidance. It means believing in your vision even when others cannot see it. Many times the people around you will not understand your path, and that is okay because it was not given to them, it was given to you. Staying true to your journey also builds resilience. The road will not always be smooth, and setbacks will come, but when your eyes are fixed on where you are going, you learn to rise after every fall. Opinions may say you are failing, but your focus tells you it is only a lesson. Opinions may call you slow, but your focus reminds you that progress is still progress. The more you commit to your path, the less affected you are by voices that try to discourage you. Focusing inward also allows you to discover parts of yourself you would have missed if you were too busy looking outward. You begin to notice your strengths, your passions, and your potential. You start exploring what makes you alive, what gives you purpose, what brings you joy. That kind of discovery only comes when you are not distracted by other people's judgments. It requires the silence of ignoring their opinions and the courage of listening to your own. The most beautiful part of focusing on your journey is the peace it brings. You no longer feel the pressure to explain yourself, to justify your choices, or to chase validation. You simply walk your path with trust. You learn that not everyone has to agree with you, not everyone has to support you, and not everyone has to believe in you. What matters is that you keep moving, you keep growing, and you keep honoring the journey that belongs to you and no one else. Not every battle deserves your response. Life will always present situations where people will provoke you, where words will be thrown at you to test your patience, where circumstances will try to drag you into unnecessary fights. The truth is, you cannot afford to give your time and energy to every conflict that crosses your path. Some battles are simply distractions designed to drain your peace, consume your focus, and pull you away from your true purpose. When you learn to step back, to observe, and to stay calm instead of reacting, you protect yourself from wasting energy on things that hold no real value in the long run. Responding to every insult or every negative comment may feel satisfying in the moment, but it leaves you empty afterwards. It is like pouring water into a bucket with holes. It never fills, it only exhausts you. Some people argue not to find the truth but just to create noise. If you join them, you get trapped in a cycle of endless explanations and defensive words that never bring peace. Choosing not to respond is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom. It shows that you understand the difference between a fight that matters and a fight that is meaningless. When you save your responses for what truly matters, you keep your dignity intact. You do not let anger decide for you. You let clarity lead the way. Every time you resist the urge to fight a battle that is not worth it, you are reminding yourself of what is truly important. Your energy is precious, and you only have so much of it in a day. If you give it away to unnecessary battles, you will have nothing left for the dreams you are building, the goals you are chasing, and the healing you are working toward. Protecting your energy means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. Some battles are also illusions created by ego. The ego wants to prove itself right, to show others that it is stronger, smarter, and better. But the more you feed that ego through unnecessary arguments, the more you lose your inner peace. Real strength comes from walking away when you know the fight has no purpose. Real courage is in silence, in letting go, in not letting yourself be pulled into negativity. The more you learn to let go of what is not worth fighting for, the more space you create for growth, learning, and peace. It is also important to remember that not everyone deserves access to your reactions. When you respond to everything, you give people power over your emotions. But when you choose silence, you take that power back. You show that your emotions are not controlled by the words or actions of others. You create a boundary that says, "My peace is not up for negotiation." That boundary protects your heart, your mind, and your future. The battles that do deserve your response are the ones that shape your character, the ones that help you grow, the ones that align with your value. Those are the battles worth fighting for. But the small conflicts, the petty arguments, the meaningless words, those are the ones you must rise above. Choosing your battles wisely is the mark of maturity. It means you no longer waste time proving yourself in places where the outcome does not matter. Instead, you direct your energy toward building a life of purpose, where your silence becomes your strength and your restraint becomes your wisdom. People will always talk. Let them. No matter what you do, no matter how kind your heart is, no matter how pure your intentions are, there will always be voices around you trying to judge, criticize, and misinterpret. Some will create stories, some will question your choices, and some will doubt your abilities. You cannot control their words, but you can control your focus. If you spend your life trying to silence every voice, you will never have time to listen to your own. People talk because it is easy. It costs them nothing. But what it can cost you is your peace, if you let their opinions sink too deep into your heart. When you accept that people will talk regardless of what you do, you free yourself from the prison of seeking approval. You stop running in circles trying to please everyone, because the truth is, even if you do everything right, someone will still find fault. That is the nature of people. They see through their own lens, shaped by their own pain, their own jealousy, or their own misunderstanding. Their words reflect more about who they are than who you are. When you understand this, you stop taking their talk personally. You begin to see it as background noise, something that happens but does not need your reaction. Letting people talk does not mean you agree with them. It simply means you choose not to waste your energy proving them wrong. Arguments cannot change minds that are already closed. Explanations cannot satisfy hearts that have already decided to doubt you. The only thing that truly speaks is your actions and the life you build. Over time, your results, your resilience, and your consistency will silence more people than your words ever could. Success does not need a voice. It speaks for itself. When you let people talk, you also protect your mental space. Every time you respond to unnecessary criticism, you allow negativity into your life. That negativity can eat away at your confidence and distract you from your path. But when you stay focused on yourself and your journey, the noise fades into the background. The opinions of others lose their power because you no longer feed them with your attention. You realize that your growth, your healing, and your peace are too important to be sacrificed for meaningless chatter. It takes strength to stay silent when people are speaking about you. It takes maturity to walk away without defending yourself. But in that silence, you build character. You remind yourself that you are not defined by their words. You are defined by your actions, your values, and your perseverance. People will always talk, but it is your choice whether you let their voices guide you or distract you. With time, you will notice that those who talk eventually get tired, but those who act keep moving forward. Life rewards action, not gossip. It rewards focus, not distraction. So while others are busy talking about you, you remain busy building yourself. You let your silence be your answer, your focus be your proof, and your growth be your reply. People will always talk, but you do not have to stop and listen every time. Let them talk while you keep walking. Protect your peace by choosing silence. In this noisy world, peace is one of the rarest treasures you can have. Every day, people try to pull you into their chaos, drag you into their arguments, and provoke you into reacting. They want you to step into the storm with them, because storms love company. But you do not always have to enter the battlefield. You do not always have to explain, defend, or fight back. Sometimes the most powerful act of self-care is to stay silent and protect your peace. Peace is not something that comes from outside. It is something you build within yourself. It is the calm that grows when you stop responding to every distraction, when you stop giving your attention to people who thrive on conflict. Your silence becomes the wall that protects that calm. Every time you choose not to reply to negativity, you are saving your inner energy. Every time you walk away instead of arguing, you are keeping your mind light and your heart safe. Protecting your peace does not mean you are avoiding life. It means you are choosing what deserves your attention and what does not. Silence is a shield. When people throw harsh words at you, silence shields you from letting those words cut too deep. When situations turn tense and emotions are high, silence shields you from saying something you might regret later. It gives you the space to breathe, to observe, and to understand before making any move. That shield keeps you from reacting impulsively and allows you to respond with wisdom, if a response is ever truly needed. Without silence, peace cannot survive, because peace requires calmness, and calmness requires restraint. Many people think protecting peace is selfish, but in reality it is necessary. If your heart is always restless, if your mind is always noisy, you cannot give your best to yourself or to others. Protecting your peace allows you to show up stronger, kinder, and clearer in the parts of life that truly matter. It means you value yourself enough not to let negativity consume you. It means you choose your growth over pointless argument. Silence plays a big role in this, because silence is not just the absence of words, it is the presence of self-control. The world will test you with misunderstandings, with criticism, with judgment, but your peace does not have to be their playground. When you remain silent, you show that your state of mind cannot be shaken by every passing comment. You show that you are bigger than the chaos that surrounds you. And slowly, people realize that they cannot steal your calmness. They cannot disturb what you have protected with silence. That realization makes you stronger and more confident in your ability to remain centered, no matter what happens around you. Choosing silence is not about ignoring reality. It is about filtering it. It is about letting go of what does not matter and holding on to what truly does. It is about not allowing temporary emotions to destroy permanent peace. The more you practice silence, the more you notice how light you feel, how focused you become, and how peaceful your heart grows. Silence may not change the world around you, but it will surely change the world within you.
Self-respect is louder than any argument.
There will always be moments when people push you to defend yourself, when they try to corner you with their words, when they test your patience just to see if you will break. In those moments, many think the way to prove strength is by raising their voice, by arguing back, by proving every point with words. But true strength does not come from how loudly you speak. It comes from how deeply you respect yourself. When you respect yourself, you do not need to enter every argument. You do not need to explain every choice. And you do not need to convince people of your worth. Your silence becomes your respect. Your calmness becomes your dignity. Arguments are often endless because they are not always about truth. They are about ego. And ego never gets satisfied. The more you argue, the more the other side resists. And soon you find yourself trapped in a cycle that takes away your peace. But self-respect teaches you that you do not need to fight every battle to prove yourself. When you know who you are, you stop trying to convince others. You realize that their approval or disapproval does not change your value. Your respect for yourself is not dependent on their acceptance. Self-respect is choosing silence when words would only lower you. It is walking away with dignity when staying would drain you. It is refusing to allow anyone to pull you into their level of negativity. This kind of respect cannot be shouted. It cannot be explained in arguments. It can only be shown in the way you carry yourself. People notice when you respect yourself because it reflects in your boundaries, in your decisions, and in your silence. It shows that you value your peace more than you value being right in someone else's eyes. When you stand in self-respect, you also protect your heart. You do not allow insults to pierce too deeply because you know your worth is not defined by them. You do not let opinions shake your confidence because you have already built a strong foundation within yourself. Every time you choose to remain silent instead of entering a fight that does not deserve you, you are affirming to yourself that your energy is too precious to be wasted. That affirmation strengthens you and helps you rise above negativity. Self-respect also teaches patience. Instead of reacting to every situation immediately, you learn to step back and think. You give yourself the space to decide whether a response is even necessary. And in most cases, you realize that silence is the greatest response you can give. It is not that you cannot speak. It is that you choose not to. That choice shows control, and control is a sign of true power. The more you practice this, the louder your silence becomes. It starts to echo with confidence, with dignity, with strength. People who try to argue with you will notice that they cannot shake your calmness, and that is far more powerful than any words you could have spoken. Over time, you come to see that self-respect is what defines your path. It is what guides your relationships, your work, and your decisions. Arguments fade, voices disappear, but the respect you hold for yourself stays with you. That respect becomes your compass, helping you choose peace over conflict, growth over distraction, and silence over unnecessary noise. And slowly, without saying a word, your presence begins to speak louder than arguments ever could. Silence teaches patience and wisdom. In a world where everyone wants to speak first, respond fast, and be heard louder than the rest, choosing silence feels uncomfortable at first. But when you learn to embrace silence, you discover that it has its own lessons that no amount of noise can ever teach. Silence is the pause that allows you to see the truth more clearly. It is the moment when your emotions settle and your mind opens. In that stillness, patience is born. You realize that not every answer needs to come immediately, not every decision needs to be rushed, and not every emotion needs to be expressed in the heat of the moment. Patience grows when you stop reacting and start observing. Silence gives you the space to watch how people behave, how situations unfold, and how time reveals what words often try to hide. When you are silent, you notice things others miss. You see patterns, you hear emotions behind words, and you catch details that noise covers up. That kind of observation brings wisdom, because wisdom is not just about knowing facts, it is about understanding people, situations, and timing. Silence sharpens that understanding in ways arguments never can. When you practice silence, you learn to hold back your impulses. Anger may push you to reply instantly. Ego may tempt you to prove yourself right. But silence teaches you that restraint is stronger than reaction. By waiting, by holding back, you allow time to do its work. Many situations resolve themselves without your intervention. Many arguments lose their fire when they are not fed. And many people reveal their true nature when you simply watch instead of engage. That patience saves you from regret, because words spoken in a rush can wound deeply, but silence rarely needs apology. Wisdom comes when you realize that silence is not empty. It is full of meaning. It teaches you that sometimes saying nothing speaks the loudest. It shows you that a calm response can carry more weight than 1,000 words shouted in anger. Wisdom grows when you see that silence is not about weakness, but about knowing when words are worth using. It is about recognizing the difference between battles that shape you and distractions that break you. Silence allows you to choose wisely, to direct your energy only toward what truly matters. Patience built through silence also strengthens your relationship. Instead of reacting to every word, you listen. Instead of interrupting, you give space. Instead of rushing to defend yourself, you allow understanding to grow. People feel respected when you listen in silence, and you gain insight when you choose to hear before speaking. Wisdom is born in those moments, because wisdom is not about talking more, it is about listening deeper. Silence also teaches patience with yourself. It allows you to reflect on your own mistakes without judgment, to sit with your own emotions without running away, to give yourself the time to grow without pressure. In silence, you learn to be kind to yourself, to accept that growth takes time, and to understand that healing is not instant. That self-patience builds resilience, and resilience is the foundation of wisdom. The more you embrace silence, the more you realize it is a teacher that never stops giving. It teaches you how to wait, how to observe, how to understand, and how to choose peace over chaos. Silence may not be loud, but it carries a power that can transform your heart, your mind, and your life.